If you're anything like me, you might like the idea of queuing ranked more than actually following through on it. And if you're anything like me, maybe your nervous system can't tell the difference between queuing up a game of competitive Overwatch and having a loaded gun pressed to your forehead. I used to be genuinely physically nauseated at the thought of queuing up at times due to a mixture of anxieties regarding potential toxicity, my rank being lower than I would like, and my own gameplay not being as good as myself or my teammates would like. My bad. And this is something that a good number of players don't experience or understand, especially if they've been playing more competitive games all throughout their life. I personally grew up with essentially 0 FPS or competitive game exposure, so Overwatch was my first venture into this genre, which is part of what makes ranked more daunting to me than it actually is among the previously mentioned factors. Recently, however, I've been queuing ranked thanks in part to strong encouragement from some people around me, as well as it being admittedly harder and harder to get interesting content out of playing quick play much of the time. And it's fun to win. It's fun to have stakes, as much as I hate to admit it. And I mean it when I say that I am a quick play warrior in recovery. Here are my credentials. If we haven't met before, hi, I'm Genevieve. I'm a Lucia one-trick, recovering from being a quick play warrior. I'm an active hindrance to most randoms, and I'm addicted to Baja Blast. I went multiple years not queuing a single game of competitive, but last season alone, I played over 200 games of ranked, which may not be as many as some other players, but I have a job, so sadly I can't just grind the game 24/7 as much as I would like to. Throughout some of my recent experiences, I've learned a few things to keep myself feeling less anxious to queue comp, as well as how to handle losses and toxicity when it happens. I know that I'm not the only person who's dealt with this mindset at one point or another, so hopefully someone finds this helpful, and if any of you have tips or tricks you find helpful, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And I do want to clarify that I am specifically talking about role queue and open queue. While Stadium does have a competitive mode, it's not ranked. It's not quite the same as the base game mode, and I don't really play it much. It's a good source for competitive points and drives, but it is extremely different from 6v6 and 5v5, which is what I'm focusing on today. Also, much of the clips seen in this video, and also like my entire experience playing this game, is typically streamed on Twitch, username Genevieve, if you ever want to check that out. Okay, let's get started. The first, and in my opinion one of the most important things that I've learned, is just to know your own limits, which sounds a lot easier than it actually is, especially if you're wanting to play a lot. You have to work with your mental, both in playing the game itself as well as interacting with other players. For a while, I gave myself a limit of like 2 losses in a row, or 2 losses even in general sometimes, before I'd take a break or swap to a different mode, since queuing while beginning to tilt is, in my opinion, one of the worst things you can do. I have had my worst loss streaks ever from tilt queuing. It just gets worse. Don't do it. Additionally, don't let your ego get in the way of being able to focus on the match. Toxicity is inevitable in basically any online game, and there's very little you can say or do to change a random's mind about you or your gameplay. So have an idea of how you want to navigate that general situation before you are in it. There are tools in game like muting text and voice chat, or just not joining voice chat altogether to help you manage situations like this, but if you're like me and you prefer interacting with other players, be prepared for a little bullshit from people around you.
Wait, I saw your TikTok earlier about wall riding.
You know, fucking shut up! These days I like to either just ignore the toxicity or find something to laugh about from it, but you may handle it differently, so see what works for you. I personally see no point in constantly typing or yelling back at a teammate who's already tilted at me out of their mind. They won't play better, you probably won't play better, your other teammates probably won't play better, so in my opinion it's best to just fully tune out people who are flaming the shit out of you. Obviously don't completely ignore actual comms like requests for swaps or shit like that, but somebody who's tilted probably won't have much of anything useful to say anyways. Also, if you keep on hearing like a bell jingling in the background, that's my cat. He hates being useful. I'm kidding, I love him so much, but, yeah, sorry. This next little tidbit is not crucial in my opinion, at least in my experience, but it can be really helpful if you're trying to kind of ease into ranked. And it does require having friends, so I'm sorry, but it's really helpful in duo. The cushion of another, hopefully, reliable player can be extremely oh my god, my cat. The cushion of another, hopefully reliable player can be extremely helpful in not being scared to queue up. Making mistakes is slightly less mortifying when a friend is around. Again, it's all up to you, but for me personally, I try not to duo all the time. If I rely on another player constantly, then I won't improve or play well as an individual, and I also won't ever queue comp without duoing, which counteracts my intention to be confident and ranked. I don't think that your confidence should depend on another player. Don't be afraid to do a little bit of like solo queuing. It's not as scary as it seems, and you might run into some chill randoms who are down to queue more with you. Also, sometimes your duo will just straight up throw you games, and like, it is what it is. So, you know, duo with caution. Cartoon Hammer. Stop. Get out! Dude! Something that I still am working on right now is just fully focusing on myself, and I think that you should fully focus on yourself when you queue up, because it is super easy to default to looking at teammates and their stat lines whenever a match isn't going your way. And of course, teammates can definitely play like shit. There will always be instances of teammates absolutely running your games down and being practically useless, and it's extremely frustrating. But there's essentially no point in always looking at bad teammates. Focusing on these players all the time does basically nothing beneficial for you, since you realistically have no actual control over how well others perform or what heroes they play. It can be really easy to fall into the habit of constantly looking at the scoreboard and teammates' misplays and everything that is going wrong, but for me personally, that's just a net negative on my mental and in turn my overall gameplay. Some advice I received years ago that helped me out a lot was to look at myself every time I died and to look at what I could have done differently to prevent that, whether it's playing in a different position, using or timing my abilities differently, or just not missing all of my fucking shots. Even if teammates technically could have done more, they didn't, and I have to work with that. And there is always technically more I can do, even if I think I'm already playing well. You are the only person in the lobby you can fully control, so spend more time looking at yourself, even if you are stuck with the Three Musketeers. It is what it is. What can you do? This is kind of in the same vein and something that I'm still working on today, but don't focus on losses too hard. You're going to lose. There will be times you will lose a lot. This is inevitable and it sucks, but try not to get into your own head over it. I always struggled with immediately thinking I was the worst player alive and that I was an imposter to my own rank, or that it would be impossible to climb back up to where I was. And sometimes I also think these things today. But what's important to remember is that literally everybody loses. Everyone goes on terrible loss streaks every so often. The best fucking players in the world lose games all the time. Everyone at some point will lose like 18 games in a row, and that's just how it is. Unless you are cheating, you will not win every single game. And while it's good to look at how you can improve, don't lose hope over bad games. They happen to literally everybody, every day. Take a break and try again tomorrow, or next week, or whenever you want. It is never the end of the world. Part of playing a game is losing. So also don't like scream at your teammates over it. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, so this is the hardest part. I have come up with all these little strategies and tips that may or may not help you. They personally helped me in preparation for this last bit. You have to play ranked. You have to keep queuing ranked. Don't stop queuing ranked. It doesn't have to be every single day, but play often enough to not slip back into being too anxious to even queue again in the first place. Exposure therapy is the best treatment, at least it was for me and a few other people I know. Again, you know yourself best, but playing often really helps. You can mix it up, queue some 5v5 role queue, or take a break from that and queue some 6v6. Stop for a couple days and get back into it, whatever you need. Just the more you play, the more used to it you will be, the more fun it will be, and the more your confidence will grow. And remember, you will win and you will lose. You may play really, really poorly at times. You might get avoided. You might get flamed. You might get your game hard thrown due to one misplay you made. While toxicity isn't necessarily excusable, it's part of the course and you will experience it. Bad days happen. Weird people happen. Don't let some negative experiences completely smother your competitive drive and your love for the game. In my own experiences, the more I queued ranked consistently, the less anxious I felt about the mode in my own rank. It's not as intense or as serious as my nervous system made it out to be. I still absolutely play it pretty seriously, but it no longer feels like some sort of ultra serious toxic space that I would dread to try queuing. And again, bad days do happen, but I no longer let those days keep me from queuing again another day, even if I end up taking a break from ranked for a day or two. I got the worst flame I've ever gotten in Overwatch like the other day as of recording this, and I still hopped on the day after, went 9-3. Maybe I wouldn't have gone 9-3. I could have gone 3-9. I would still keep playing. And also, if you've been playing a lot of ranked and you've just been feeling miserable, don't force yourself to keep going. When I say to keep going, I mean like, don't queue ranked for one day and then never queue for another few weeks or months. Just keep it consistent. Anyways, I know that this entire video hasn't been the most structured or organized, and it's kind of just me spitballing and throwing ideas out there, but I really hope that I could help somebody out because I know it's such a weird issue to have, but I've met multiple people who had it and still have it, and I'd really like to just provide my own experience, and hopefully you won't feel like ranked is that bad. Now you, yes you, go queue up right now, open Overwatch and start queuing right now. You have to start queuing right now.